Hey guys, this is Ryan with Mom on Mission, and if you are new here, I am a Christ-following, homeschooling, book-loving mama to 3 boys, and so on this channel you will find all things biblical womanhood, homeschool, and book related. So today I'm hosting a collaboration with several of my friends, and this is tips for homeschooling or parenting by grade. And so if you are a mom, you know that each stage that your child enters into is very different. You can't expect the same things that worked for a 4-year-old to work when your kid's 8. And every stage you enter into brings its own list of problems and questions, along with some new fun things that you get to learn about your child and do with your child. And so I thought I would do this collaboration just to give us some ideas, as we enter into new school years here in the next couple months. Give us some ideas of what we might be looking at for the next grade and how we can, whether you homeschool or not, how we can reach our children, talk to them, and just how we can parent them better during the season that they're getting ready to enter into. So make sure at the end of this you check out the playlist down below. Like I said, several of my friends are going to be joining in, and not all of them are uploading today, so make sure you come back if you don't see very many up there. Some of them are uploading Friday, some are waiting till Monday, so just be on the lookout for those. So I chose to take on 3rd grade for this collaboration. My oldest son is wrapping up 3rd grade right now and will be a 4th grader next year, which just sounds crazy to me. So I'm definitely not an expert at this. It's not like I've done this several times, but there are just some noticeable changes that I saw in him this year, and there's just some things that I've noticed and things that I have seen that have helped to parent him better. So I was reading an article about kids in this age range, kind of that 8 and 9-year-old range, and they were talking about how they kind of start questioning things a little more. They start noticing things a lot more, and they are just still really about having fun any way possible. So these are kind of things that I had noticed as well, some more than others, but I had noticed that my oldest, who is usually just kind of a go-getter, he doesn't typically think, oh, can I do that? He just goes and tries and doesn't even notice if he's good or bad at it. He just wants to try everything. And then I started seeing this year that he was starting to kind of get a little reserved and get a little more, well, I'm not sure that I'm really good at that. I don't really know that I can do that. And that's just very unlike him, and it kind of broke my heart a little bit. But then it was reassuring to see that this is kind of just an age thing. It's not necessarily that something has happened to make him lose confidence. He's just starting to notice things a little differently. So one thing that I have learned that helps a lot is some intentional encouragement, some definite words of affirmation. We were on a hike yesterday and his legs were getting really tired, and he just started kind of complaining, and we just had a good discussion about, hard things aren't always bad things. And I've learned this mantra this past year or two, and it is so true. Just because something's hard does not mean it is bad. So we got to have a good discussion about that, and I got to encourage him to do hard things. There's times when he can't figure out something, whether it be a math problem or something bigger, and he gets really frustrated now when he didn't always get frustrated about these things. And so I've learned to tell him, okay, you may not know how to do this right now, but can we sit down and figure out how to do it? Instead of just saying, well, just forget about it then, or getting upset with him that he can't figure something out. Just saying, okay, let's slow down and figure out how to do it. And that's a huge encouragement to him. I've also been saying things like different is good, which that can go for a different multitude of things. But just teaching him that we're not all cookie cutter, people. We don't have all the same interests, the same desires. And then I've been teaching him that, things aren't always fair. and that's okay. And it's good to seek justice, and it's good to want fairness. But sometimes you're going to get the short end of the stick, and that's all right as long as it's not, a big issue. If someone gets a bigger piece of pizza than you, it's going to be all right, is basically what I'm saying. And then I've found I've had to just, tell him a lot that we have to trust God, that we don't always know exactly how things are going to pan out, and that's okay, but we have a God who will take care of us. And then we also have been giving him a lot of encouragement when he does do good things, when he does do hard things that take courage. Just say, wow, look at what happened when you trusted God. Look at what happened when you tried the hard thing. And he just gets a lot from that in this stage that he's in. So first thing I would say is give them extra encouragement. Those third graders really thrive on that. Secondly, I would say discuss, discuss, discuss. And so my first son is a talker anyway, and I'm really not. So this has always kind of been a thing for us. Like by the end of the day, I'm like, I don't have any more words. This kid has taken all my words. But when they come to you with questions, stop what you're doing and find the answer. Now I realize that's not always feasible, but take the time to investigate something that they have a question about, whether it be a moral question, a biblical question, or whether it be something about an octopus or what have you, whatever they're into that day. And I would say this for any kid at any age, but especially those inquisitive third graders, they are looking for concrete answers at this age. They are looking for examples. They don't want, metaphors and just, oh, that's how it is. They want to know answers to things. And yes, there are things that we don't have answers to exactly, but we need to take the time to be willing to try to find the answers with them. And you can always point them back to scripture as they have questions. And then you can always give examples from your own life. I think making yourself relatable to your kids is very important, and saying, if you're not already apologizing to your kids, for one, this is kind of a side note, but repenting to your kids when you sin against them, because we do it. Just because we're parents doesn't mean that we never sin against our kids, because we do it a lot. If you're not apologizing to your kids, I encourage you to do that. But not only that, but when they're dealing with something, say, hey, you know what? One time I had to do something that was really hard too, and here's what happened. And give them the example. If they're dealing with being sad or upset or feeling left out, whatever it is, try to find those hard, concrete examples in scripture, in your own lives, in people's lives that you know, and just, let them know that they're not alone. And then also discuss their interests with them. And I know that this isn't always easy. I know that if you have kids like me that like Minecraft and Mario and all that fun stuff, Pokemon, I know you can just kind of want to zone out and just say, go talk to your brother about that. There's a good idea. But it's important for you to sometimes get on their level and talk about things that they want to talk about, whether you want to talk about them or not. That kind of fills up their love tank, and that's really important at any age. And then I think this is also a time to discuss current events with them. And I agree that not every news story needs to be shared with your kiddos. But we start at a really young age, kind of helping our kids see what's going on in the world, because they're going to eventually hear it anyway. So they need to hear it from us, where we can point them back to the cross and help them see things through a gospel lens. But in third grade, they're kind of starting to open their eyes a little more to the world outside of their home, outside of their four walls, and they're starting to notice things more. And so you need to address those things with them. And it's a great time to just start talking current events with your kids if you haven't already. And then the third thing I would like to say, give them encouragement, discuss things with them. But also, as they're entering into kind of this, once you hit like 10, they're kind of entering that preteen stage or that tween stage. I would say don't forget that they're still kids, especially if you're like me and this is your oldest child that you're talking about. Sometimes I can tend to want him to be the big brother, and the fact that I want him to carry more responsibility and I want him to be more mature. And he is more mature and he does have more responsibility. But sometimes it's easy to forget that he's still a little boy and he still wants to do little boy things. And, you know, he still wants to play. He still wants to be loud and silly. And he's still going to need to take breaks. He's not going to be able to sit and do hours upon hours of school at a time. And so I have to let him sometimes, it's easy for me to say, okay, you sit here and draw these worksheets while I go do this other stuff with your brothers. That is school, but it's more fun. And he's sitting there going like, I want to do that. So I've had to stop and kind of like let him take a break from his work and come join us doing whatever it is we're doing, even if it's a little immature for him. And then one thing that we've had to work on, and this is, might be specific to my son because he is very much a touchy-feely person and I'm not. But I have to remember that he's still just a little boy and he still likes hugs and he still likes affection in that way. And it's just kind of awkward for us because my middle son is not a touchy-feely person at all. And so I'm like, well, the 6-year-old's not wanting to hang on me all day. Why are you? Still a little boy. So if he wants to come and randomly hug me, that's all right. And I know I'm going to miss that one of these days. And then just a few extra things I wanted to touch on is as far as chores go, I've noticed my 3rd grader has really started wanting to take on more responsibility. He asked me mid-school year if he could start making breakfast every day. And the control freak part of me was like, no, I'll do it. It's fine. But then I was like, you know what? No, he needs to learn how to make breakfast. And so he makes breakfast for us almost every day. And I've started giving him, you know, more chores, but also more rewards for those chores, more privileges. And we're working on getting him to unload and load the dishwasher completely on his own. We're working on getting him to clean a bathroom all on his own. I'm praying that just hurries up and happens because I hate cleaning bathrooms. And then with communicating with your 3rd grader, I feel it's important to first just listen to them and then start your discussion based on what you're hearing from them. So if you're hearing constant, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, I don't like this, where they're constantly down on themselves and negative, well, that gives you a starting point on how to talk to them and what to talk to them about. And it gives you, you know, a chance to, like I said earlier, talk about things that they want to talk about. But we're so easy to just kind of talk at our children instead of talking to them or with them. So if you can kind of listen to the things they're saying and then engage them, it becomes more of a two-way street communication and not just us, you know, barking at them. And then lastly, something that my 3rd grader has been loving lately is that I have taken the time to just stop randomly. I don't have it scheduled or anything, but to just stop and take part in something that he enjoys doing. And that really fills up his love tank. Just like talking Minecraft and Pokemon and all of these like eyes glazed over type things. You know, stopping and talking about those things, but also, you know, I'll get on the Switch and play games with them sometimes. Or lately we've been really into coloring. So we get like those really intricate coloring books and we put on an audiobook and we sit together and we color. Just stopping and doing something that they like doing and doing it alongside them and not just saying, oh yeah, you can go do that, but hey, I want to do that too. It just really shows them that you value them and you value their interests, and you know, they may someday return the favor and, you know, go walk through Old Navy for 2 hours with you. Just saying. So I hope these tips were helpful for dealing with your 3rd grader when it comes to homeschooling or just parenting in general. Like I said, check out the playlist down below, and make sure if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and I will come out with some new videos. I have one coming out tomorrow. It's another collaboration, homeschool based, and I don't usually put 2 videos up in a row, but this week's a little different, so there you go. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.